Hi, my name is Kristen Torres, and if you're watching this video, that means you either are a client of mine and you've been given this video, or you met me somewhere and you received a QR code so that you could learn more about indexed annuities and how that can transform your retirement portfolio. So we're going to talk about transferring retirement savings accounts to create a private pension, because honestly, it's not a retirement plan until you know what it will do for you. Again, my name is Kristen Torres, and I do hold a Bachelor's of Science in Respiratory Therapy as well as a Bachelor's of Science in Nursing. I'm an RN, a respiratory registered therapist, and I'm also a licensed consultant in finance, insurance, and retirement. I've been in this space for about 8 years, and I have a 15-year medical history background in working, like I said, as an RRT and registered nurse. But I now work in this field exclusively. Although I still have my nursing license to do medical mission trips, I do this full time now. So, what most people use for retirement income, let's talk about some of the history of the 401k and the 403b, because a lot of people have this actual plan that's given to them by their employers. So, all 401 Section K or 403 Section B is a tax code telling you how much of your money you actually get to keep. Okay. So then, of course, that's applied to mutual funds, stocks, bonds, or whatever other type of account you're growing that money in. And again, like I said, that tax code is telling you how much you get to keep of that money. So these tax codes, especially 401 Section K, was created in the 1970s, the late 1970s, to help, corporation CEOs kind of get some tax breaks on some things. And so what happened was it kind of caught wind, and employers started figuring out, we can get a tax write-off for every dollar that we match our employees if we offer this plan. And so as that plan started becoming more popular for the employer and their tax break, pensions started going down, because if you think about it, the cost of a pension versus getting a tax break by offering a 401k, it couldn't compare, and companies started saving a lot of money by not offering pensions and offering 401ks and 403bs. Okay. So that is how pensions started going away, and 401ks and 403bs and all the other sorts started getting a lot more popularity and started increasing in financial portfolios. Now, this wasn't because these were created for retirement. Again, it was created for tax breaks for companies. So this was never a model that was actually tested for retirement. So here's the issue because of that. A lot of people, once they're done growing their money in their 401ks or their 403bs, right, their IRAs, they say, okay, I have this lump sum of money. Where can I put it where maybe I can still gain a little bit of money on it, but I can live off of it now? Because now I don't have a pension, and Social Security is starting to look slimmer and slimmer. So I know I'm going to really need this IRA or this 401k to work for me in retirement if I'm going to retire and stay retired. So as I said before, pensions were actually an actual retirement plan. They provided lifetime income, and 401ks and 403bs do not. So this was actually a problem, because now you've taken away the security of retirement and you replace it with something that is up in the air. You don't know what you're going to get from it. The company you work for, like I said, not only do they get a tax write-off for the dollars that they match you, but they're actually choosing the company for you. So if you think about it, you started working for a certain company or a hospital, and they said, hey, this is who provides our retirement savings plan for our employees. So that's your, like I said, 401ks, 403bs. And so they're choosing which company you entrust your money to. You don't even get to choose that. They chose it for you, right? A lot of times these investment options that those companies do offer are extremely limited. So just within that scope and that small, option box or the list that they give you, and you're looking through and you're saying, man, I know there's so many more out there, but those are just the ones that are offered to you. Okay. If the company does not offer a Roth option, you are basically deferring all your taxes for a time in history when, one, you're going to be on a fixed income more than likely, but also taxes are probably going to be higher. Cost of living is going to be higher. A lot of things are going to be higher. So you're also pushing that tax bill on down the line so that you can pay higher taxes in the future. Okay. And you must pay the taxes on those matching dollars. So a lot of clients I've had in the past where I was helping them retire, they said, "Oh, no, no, honey, I have a Roth and those matching dollars. Yeah, everything's good. I don't pay taxes on it." And I said, "Well, you don't pay taxes on what you put in here, your contributions, but your company stuck you with that tax bill on the matching dollars." So that's usually a shock. Most people don't realize that. And also, with the market volatility factored into the performance of these accounts, the average 401k balance is somewhere around $200,000. And honestly, I just checked it the other day. It's a little bit less than that. But even if we stuck with $200,000, and let's say you put it somewhere super safe where, you might be getting a fixed rate of 3%, or you might find a money market somewhere, something to keep it somewhere competitive with inflation. Okay. And you're thinking, man, I'm going to need, almost $40,000 after taxes in retirement just to, take care of basic bills. That's only going to last you 4 years. Okay. So if you try to make it spread out, now you're taking in less and less money, and you got to try to make up for that income that you need in other areas. So that is the main issue for taking something that was guaranteed, that gave people lifetime income, and swapping it out with something that people are unsure what they're going to get from it. Right? Also, keep in mind, Social Security is on life support. So by 2034, the actual trust fund for Social Security will be completely gone. All right. So that was something that a lot of people really, really, just entrusted their entire retirement on. And like I said, not their entire, because they had pensions as well. And then they had savings, what they did off to the side. But Social Security was supposed to be a huge part of this retirement income. Now, if you think about it, a lot of people are saying, man, my Social Security check is barely $2,000 a month. I really thought it would be more. Well, when they created Social Security back in the 1930s, this was a model that actually kind of worked. You had people living up to maybe their mid 60s, right? That was the actual life expectancy. And Social Security cut on at age 65. So if people did use it, they were only on it for a couple years before they actually passed away. So that's the first thing. Second thing is, the actual generation in which it was created was the silent generation. So people born between 1925 and 1945, which was only 47 million people. Then the generation you had after that, which was the baby boomers, was 78 million people. Okay, so way more people were born after that. So not only did you have people it was a lot more that were going to be dependent upon Social Security, but think about it, baby boomers live way longer than 65 years old, don't they? Yes, they do. So because they've extended this retirement period, right, almost out to 30 years, now Social Security is supposed to help people on Social Security for almost 2, 3 decades, as well as double the amount of people. So Social Security was stressed out before we could even put it in the news spin there, put it in the reel and put it out there for people to actually see that Social Security is on its way out the door. Also, too, when they created Social Security, it was 42 workers to one retiree. So again, like I said, the numbers just worked. You had way more people putting into the pot, way less people putting out. And now that's looking more like 1.8 workers to one retiree. And the baby boomers have not even finished retiring yet. So that's what we're looking at. Also, the trust fund, like I said, not only will it be depleted by 2034, they're going to continue to increase the Social Security tax. So look at your check next time you get paid and ask yourself, okay, I see how much they're taking out, but look over the next couple years, even the next decade, to see how that number is going to increase, because they're going to have to increase how much they're taking out of your check to keep Social Security afloat for the baby boomers. A lot of people say, wow, that is so not fair. The fact that, I'm putting in a Social Security knowing that I'm probably not going to get anything out of it. And that is just the situation at hand right now. And as you can see, this is the screenshot taken from the debt clock before 2025. Now in 2025, both of these were taken off of the debt clock. And so before that happened, this was the actual running tab of Social Security liability and Medicare liability. And yes, that is trillion. So 26 trillion. And actually, I saw it before they took it off. It was at 27 trillion, and Medicare liability was at 42.5 trillion. So trillion in liability means in the hole. So we're already in the hole for these programs, trillions and trillions of dollars. And then, like I said, the trust fund will be gone in less than 9 years. So out of the three legs that I just went over for retirement, which was the old retirement model, right? We had Social Security, But we just now saw on that last screen that that's probably not going to be something that you want to depend upon. And then pensions. Employers got rid of those because it was so much more cost effective to offer you 401ks, 403bs, and everything of the sort. So the only thing that you have control over is your personal savings, what you personally save, what you're putting back for your future. And now retirement isn't so much in their hands, it's now more in your hands. Okay, now this is a side-by-side comparison of how money grows. And we're going to go through this real quick because it's very, very key for you to understand this. Now, in a fixed account situation, okay, so out of the three ways money grows, you have fixed. That means someone's giving you a fixed rate. It's not going to get any less, it's not going to get any higher. And you can pretty much determine how quick it's going to take for that money to double by a simple equation. 72 divided by the interest rate equals how many years it will take that money to double. Okay, so if you're getting 1%, 72 divided by 1% is 72 years. If you're getting 4%, 72 divided by 4% is 18 years. All right, so you're barely keeping up with inflation with a fixed account. Okay, so these are like your CDs, your savings accounts, other fixed funds that you'll see offered to you typically at a bank or credit union. Next, we have variable. That's anything tied to the market. So that's like your stocks, your mutual funds, right? You see the market go up, you're making money. You see the market go down, you're losing money. And we pretty much understand that concept. But let's break this down a little bit more because this is very, very important, very key for you to understand this, okay? We know average return, and I'm going to explain why we know average return, and then I'm going to actually explain to you what actual return is. Let's say you have $1,000 at the peak right here in this market trend, and all of a sudden the market goes down 50%. Well, what are you left with? $500. Now let's say it goes back up 50%. Okay, so we went down 50%, but now we're going back up 50%. Where will we be here? And most people will say, I'm back at 1,000 because the market averaged out, we're at 0%. It went down 50%, it went up 50%. So I had 1,000. Now I'll be back at 1,000. Well, here's the thing. Like I said, that's average return. Actual return is the actual thing that's happening. It's really what's going on in this account. So when the market went up 50%, you were at 500. So you're only going to get a 50% gain off of 500, which is 250. So that means you're actually at 750 when the market recovered, not 1,000. That's actual return. Okay, so you're going to see these in 401ks, 403bs, IRAs, mutual funds, brokerage accounts, even real estate, right? Real estate is considered variable. But also, I want you to think about this too. Okay, I've been dumping money into my 401k at work. My company's matching. I'm not seeing this, Kristen. And that is the reason why you continue to dump money into these accounts. So it's hard for you to see what is actually going on. All right, next is indexed. So this is where you actually get to have the gains of the market. So you get to mirror the market. But when the market goes down, you're with a company that's actually assuming the risk for you. So they make a deal with you and they say, hey, listen, you bring your money to our account, we're going to make money off of that. We're really good at what we do. So the more money in our accounts or in our portfolio, the better. Everybody wins. So what we're going to do is if you bring your money to us, we're going to assume the risk for you. And so we're going to give you those gains of the market. But when the market goes down, you're going to hold where you're at. Okay, so what does that look like? When the market goes up, you're making money. But when the market goes down, you lock in. So what you brought over to the company and what you grew, you get to keep. So you keep what you put in and what you grew. Typically, you'll find these in index annuities and index universal life cash value. So this is where you can get this type of strategy to apply to the money that you're growing for retirement. So let's look at these two side by side. Okay, as far as personal savings and investing options. So you have tax deferred 401ks, 403bs, or IRAs. And we're going to look at the different, benefits or non-benefits of what comes with these accounts, okay? So we have potential for loss. Can you lose money in a tax deferred 401k, 403b, or IRA? Yes, you can. Is it protected from taxes at distribution? No, it is not. Remember, you deferred your taxes. So you're not protected from whatever the tax rate is at that time, whether it's 22% or 50%. Lifetime income potential? No, because you are not making a deal with someone saying, hey, listen, grow my money, don't lose it, and give me a check every single month. Whatever the market puts out is what it puts out, okay? Next, you have your brokerage accounts. So, is there a potential for loss for these? Yes, of course, because you're putting that money in the market. Is it protected from taxes at distribution? No. We call these our tax now accounts, meaning you're going to pay taxes on the growth, and there might be some fees attached to that as well, such as brokerage fees, things like that. Do you get lifetime income potential from these accounts? No. There's no feature of lifetime income or annuitization or anything like that. Next, we have Roth 401ks, 403bs, and IRAs. So, what about this one? Potential for loss. Yes, because that money is directly in the market. So, you could be within a year of retiring, think you have a certain amount, market goes down, and now you don't. Is it protected from taxes at distribution? Yes, outside of the matching dollars that you got in that Roth, of course it is. And lastly, lifetime income potential. No, actually not. It's the same situation as the tax deferred 401k, 403b IRA, and the brokerage account, meaning you just have this lump sum of money. You hope you grow enough interest to, use it for that year. You hope you're not digging into the actual amount that you started out with or what you grew to, and that you can just grow up or live off the interest, but it's not guaranteed at all. Next, we have real estate rental income. Is there a potential for loss in this? Yes, of course. It's real estate. So, even though the model is for real estate to always increase in value, which typically it does, and also, hey, if I own this property, I can rent it out and make rental income. Yes. But also, is there potential for loss, meaning maybe you can't find renters or maybe the housing market goes down? Yes, there is. Protected from taxes at distribution. No, typically, especially if you're, using it as a rental, you can set it up as a business, maybe get some tax breaks from that, but essentially, no, it's not protected from taxes at distribution. But lifetime income potential. Yes. So if you have a home, you own it, and you're renting that out and you have renters in it, can you have lifetime income from that real estate? Yes, you can. The other is also true. If you can't rent it out, or whatever you were doing with that property, if it just doesn't work out by the plans that you had for it, can that be potential to not have lifetime income? That is correct. Now, lastly, we have index annuities. Here's why I love these, because it kind of goes opposite to a lot of these other accounts. So, potential for loss. Well, I just explained to you, index accounts, you cannot lose money. You can only gain. You're going to mirror the gains of the market, but you're not going to get any of the loss. So, for index annuities, potential for loss? No. And that's actually pretty reassuring for someone actually in retirement, knowing that they cannot lose any money. Next, protected from taxes at distribution. So I have a yes and no here. Mainly though, if you move a certain account like a 401k or 403b, it's tax deferred, okay? Meaning you haven't paid taxes on it yet, but you moved it to an index annuity, you're still going to have to pay taxes on that distribution because the government is definitely going to want their money, okay? Now, let's say that it was a Roth 401k, Roth 403b, Roth IRA, and you moved it to an index annuity, you're good to go, right? Especially if it's not matching dollars included in all that and you just moved it over, then you're good and you are protected from taxes. Lifetime income potential, yes. So what annuity companies will do is once you move that money over, and I'll have a couple different scenarios. I have a client that's ready to retire right now. So as soon as we move that money over, we can go ahead and establish it with that company and annuitize it right away, giving them lifetime income immediately. Or a lot of times what I usually have is a client maybe 10, 15 years out from retirement. They say, hey, I have this old IRA or old 401k from my previous employer. Can I move it over to an index annuity? Yes. We move it over, and then we say to the company, listen, when this person's ready to retire, you keep growing this money, and then whenever that happens, we're going to turn on the income and we're going to get lifetime income. So, for instance, let's say that this person moves over $100,000 and the company grows it to 300,000, and then they turn that income and they start getting income, and let's say that the income adds up to 300,000 in 20 years in, do they still get payments? And the answer is yes. The company still has to pay them out even though they went past what they earned with that company, which was 300,000. And that is why annuities are lifetime income and have that potential for that lifetime income that people look for that they got from pensions. Okay. So as you can see, those are the benefits. Now, A lot of times people say, okay, I see the benefits of an index annuity, but I still am a little sketchy or things are a little cloudy as far as why this will be a great option for me. I understand that I'm essentially turning a 401k or an IRA into a pension, but what else is there? So, other than the fact that we're looking at the three ways that money grows, right? Fixed, variable, and index. Index meaning you can lock in gains. A lot of these companies offer a bonus. So, a sign on bonus is offered. Again, as I said previously, these companies are very, very good at what they do. They know how to grow money. Their portfolios are just pristine. They're amazing. And they pretty much can predict how much they can make off the money that they have in that portfolio every year. So they're able to honestly give you a part of that up front in a bonus. And I've seen bonuses anywhere from 10% all the way to 50% day one sign on bonus. So that is another great thing that people love to see when they transfer their money over to an index annuity. You want to make sure that you're eligible, meaning you have assets outside of that. But also, if you're still working with your company and you're not 59 and a half years old yet, a lot of times companies will not allow you to move that money. I mean, they're giving up their tax break by matching, right? So that's going to be something that they probably will not let you do. But if you leave that company and you're younger than 59 and a half years old, well, then you usually have free reign on where you want to move that money to. If you're still with the company and you're above the age of 59 and a half years old, more than likely you can still make this move because you're above that penalty age of 59 and a half years old, regardless of if you're with the company or they're an old employer that you used to work for. Here's an example of one of our clients and their index annuity. So she moved over $400,000, and at the time, they were offering a 25% bonus. Like I said, I've seen these bonuses go all the way up to 50%. It's really amazing to see. So at the time, they gave her $100,000 for that 25% bonus. And just after 2 years on her statement, she not only had the bonus, but she grew to about 131,000 on top of that. So she went from 400,000 to 631,000 just in 2 years. That's almost a 60% rate of return. So that's how powerful these annuities can be and how they can really just, ignite and accelerate what you have going on for retirement. And you might can even retire earlier if you have something like this growing as fast as it is and offering you a lifetime income just like a pension. Okay. And so again, we're looking at another example. This is one of our clients. He was a little bit younger than her, had about $250,000 in a 401k, moved it over, and they actually gave him, there's that 50% bonus of 112,500 day one. Okay. And then as you can see, we ran the illustration, the projections for when he's ready. When he's ready to retire, he can start to receive around $42,000 a year. Of course, he has to pay taxes because this was a tax deferred 401k that we moved over. But do you see that the income actually goes up every year? So we started at 42,000, goes up to 43, 48. That is them still growing his money. So he took the option where he gets less upfront, but he's still involved in the growth of his money. And so they're able to pay him out more and more and more every year. And that's going to cover your cost of inflation, right? Or just inflation period, or cost of living. I'm sorry, cost of living and inflation, those types of things that people are, usually battling in retirement, and they're hoping to make more off their retirement income stream just to combat that. Something like this automatically taken care of because they're still going to involve and grow your money in their portfolio and pay you out more every year for that cost of living increase and inflation. Oh, and my favorite part is this young man is going to run out of money by the age of 74, but they still have to pay him out. That's what I love about annuities. I love it. So, a lot of Americans have, like I said, a lot of old 401ks and 403bs left at old jobs. It happens so much. You find a new employer, you start to work for them, and you forget all about that old retirement savings plan that you had with them. Well, I like to think of that as leaving your wallet with an X. You would never leave your wallet or purse with an X. No, you would not. So, don't do the same with your retirement savings plan that you had at that job. And a lot of times we'll have people who have multiples of those, so we'll take that and pull them all together and make one big index annuity and let that company grow it and then later turn on the income so they can have lifetime income just like a pension. So, if you have any questions or you have some old 401ks or old 403bs or old IRAs yourself that you would like to roll over or possibly roll over into an index annuity, definitely there's a link in the comment section. Click that link for a customized consultation, and we will see if one, you're eligible to be able to do this. Two, if there's a bonus in hand at one of these companies that they can offer you. And three, if it just makes sense for you to put into your portfolio versus what you have going on right now. I look forward to helping you with your retirement needs and goals.